Scoodly doodly doo, it's time for another Welch review. Scoodly doodly doo doo.
Evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, hello. This is the Welch Review. We're your hosts, Sam and Stefan. And today we are going to be talking about what would happen if you adopted Estonian Lizzie Borden.
I wish that was on the poster
Yeah.
for this movie. Or like the IMDb. Estonian Lizzie Borden.
Yeah, also known as Orphan. It's an older film. I think it came out when I was in like middle school.
Like 2008, 2009?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it came out during the recession. And I was
During the recession.
Yeah, and I was definitely in middle school.
I remember I went to see this movie and I had to have an adult come in and say it's okay for me to see this because I wasn't old enough to see it.
Wait, you went to see this in
Yeah, I
theaters?
saw this movie in theaters. Yeah.
Dang, go
I
ahead.
know, man. It's kind of crazy. So, Estonian Lizzie Borden,
Yeah.
also known to some by Orphan, stars Vera Farmiga as Kate. She's in the Conjuring films, so 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, she was popping off back then, huh?
Yeah.
She was in every horror movie.
And she's in the Martin Scorsese The Departed. She played Leonardo DiCaprio's characters like a therapist.
Yeah. Oh god, she was super big.
Yeah. She was also in Godzilla, King of the Monsters, more recently. You also have Peter Skarsgård as John, and he was in the film Garden State, Jarhead, and the cult favorite Green Lantern.
Yeah, everybody loves that movie.
I'm a fan.
Nobody
of that movie.
complains.
I like that movie.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds, you did a good job. You also have Isabella Fuhrman as Esther, which is kind of like concerning because we have an aunt named Esther, so it's the first time like I've seen this in like a movie, and it's
It fits though. And Esther, if you're watching this, you know, pick me last.
Isabella Fuhrman was in the film Novice. She played the novice. It's about rowing. Row your boat.
It's a movie about rowing.
Yeah.
Alright, well they make them about golf, so it can't be that bad.
Exactly.
Yeah, keep going.
It's probably going to be pointless. But anyway, the movie, she was in something called The Hunger Games. Where
Never heard of that before.
People started eating each other because the government didn't feed them.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
She went against J-Law as Katniss Everdeen. And what's crazy is, so this movie came out in like 2008, 2009. They just wrapped filming on a prequel.
Yeah, so like, it's 11 years, 12 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, she's like, I mean, she was,
That's
I don't know how old exactly she was when she made this, but like, either she
Did they have her come back?
Yeah, she's playing Esther again, and it's called First Kill. So it's about
She's younger.
Yeah, like it's about like how she said that she was adopted. They brought her to America, and then she killed them.
Keep going.
Yeah,
This is the family
it's that storyline. All right, so then you have CCH Pounder as Sister Abigail.
CCH Pounder.
And she was in Avatar, Blue Pocahontas. Right, she played the Na'vi Queen.
Okay,
right?
Queen Natiri.
Yep. No,
Queen.
I don't know what the
Natiri is the princess.
Yeah, she's the princess.
Yeah, keep
the
going.
princess is Pocahontas' mom.
Yeah.
Or Blue Pocahontas' mom. She was in the Mortal Instruments City of Bones. It was supposed to be a trilogy based on some books. Didn't go anywhere.
Nah.
Then she was in RoboCop 3. Well, actually, that might have been the first thing.
She was in RoboCop 3?
RoboCop 3.
Damn!
She was also in Godzilla King of the Monsters. She played the United Nations judge that's listening to monarchs.
This lady's got longevity.
And she was also in NCIS New Orleans. Then you have Jimmy Bennett as Daniel, and he was in Star Trek. I think he played young James Kirk. He was in A Girl Like Her and the Harrison Ford action film Firewall. Margot Martindale as Dr. Browning. She played like the head of a hillbilly mafia in Justified.
Okay.
She was in the film The Hollers, which was John Krasinski's directorial debut.
All right.
And August Osage County. Then you have Carl Roden as Dr. Vavara. He was in Rock and Rolla, The Born Supremacy and Running Scared.
Yo, if you're in Rock and Rolla, you're just cool.
Well, like, he typically plays, like, a sketchy Russian villain.
Yeah, but if you're in rock and roll, then you're cool.
Rock and roll is dope.
That movie's great.
We'll have to talk about it.
Yeah, we need to review that.
Oh, man.
I want to be a real rock and roller.
Then you had Ariana Engineer. Her last name is Engineer.
They're
as
like,
Max.
this lady needs a last name. What's her family do? They build stuff.
And she only did 3 movies. She did Orphan, Resident Evil Retribution, and Dreaming of Peggy Lee.
Okay. Is Peggy Lee a horror movie?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I never heard of it until I did some research on her.
Same juice.
Then you have Rosemary Dunsmore as Grandma Barbara, Grandma Babs, G Babs, Babby G, whatever you want to go with. And she was in the show Orphan Black, Mom P.I., and a recent horror film called The Toll.
Okay.
The script was by David Leslie Johnson McGoldnick, and he wrote Aquaman, Red Riding Hood, and Conjuring 3, which starred Vera Farmiga.
Dope.
And it was based on a story by Alex Mace, who also had a writing or story credit on Red Riding Hood. He had the story idea to come back for Orphan First Kill, and a film called Delirium.
Yeah.
And this was directed by Juan Colette Serra. And he directed Run All Night, and Unknown with Liam Neeson,
right.
The Shallows with Blake Lively.
Another good, decent
and
film.
The most recent film he's made is Jungle Cruise, and I'm pretty sure he's directing Black Adam with The Rock.
So this guy is like consistently making at least decent films.
Yeah,
Good
like
for him.
he has
good.
Again, longevity at least through like the 2000s onwards. He's been doing pretty good.
Yeah.
So that's the cast, where you may have seen them and who they are.
Yeah, so with that out of the way, I'd like to start off by talking about Lizzie Borden, because some of you might not know who she is. Out by the New Bedford area, basically, like hundreds of years ago, there's this little girl who's like, yo, what if I just murder my family with this axe? And then she does, while they're sleeping. And that's Lizzie Borden. So that might clue you off on what this movie's about. And in this film, you have a couple, right? And they are trying to have a third child. Now, the last child, like the third child, is stillborn, and they find out like 16 days before they actually take the baby out. So like it's very traumatic for the mother, as it would be, right? That's pretty traumatizing. So, mother winds up having some like serious alcoholism issues, but she like recovers and she's doing pretty good, and they're like, well, you know, like it's time to adopt, right? Because we still want that third kid, but you know, she doesn't feel too confident about having another child herself. So they go to adopt. They visit the adoption center. The adoption center's like, yo, we have all these children. Which one would you like to have? Yeah, so I don't know. They're like, you know, are observing, and the father, John, after like going to the bathroom, stumbles upon like a girl who's just like painting. Right, she's not playing with the other kids. She's not running around being loud. She's just painting, and she paints a lot. She's pretty good at it. And he's like, honey, this kid seems cool. So they talk to her. They're like, wow, she seems so cool. She's so sweet. And she's like very like well put together for a 9-year-old. Like, wow, we're gonna adopt this one. So they do.
So you shall.
Yeah, and basically, this little girl is supposedly from Russia, right? Her last family mysteriously died in a fire. And this wasn't like she was adopted before, and they mysteriously died in a fire. So they're like, oh, what a tragic story, you know, like, we'll, you know, take care of you, make sure nothing bad like that ever happens to you again. So, then we meet the rest of their own actual family, which includes Max.
Max is the
Max
sister.
is a little 5-year-old girl,
yep.
Who is deaf. She does sign language though. And she can read lips. Hearing's not very good, even with hearing aids. So Max is cool. And then there's an older brother who's an idiot,
Danny,
who I actively don't like, even though he's right most of the time. But yeah, I don't like Danny. He's annoying.
He's pretty off-putting.
Yeah. So, Estonian girl and Max get together like pretty much immediately. What's her name? I'm sorry.
Estonian girl
Yeah,
living in a lonely world.
That's pretty good. What's her name though?
Esther.
Esther, yes. Esther and Max get along real well. And Esther starts to learn sign language, that way she can communicate with Max and to impress her new parents. Everything's jiving real well. Except Danny doesn't like her. He's like, yo, this new girl sucks. She's not my sister. I'm not going to talk to her at school. I'm going to actively bully her when you guys aren't around. So that's not going too well. The other thing about Esther is that she wears these ribbons around her wrists and her neck all the time. And they're like, that's also kind of weird, but we're not going to say anything. She also keeps this weird old Bible in her drawer with pictures of men, or just one man, I guess, at this point. Who they just assume is her last family, or maybe her dad or something. Nothing. It's innocent, but the old Bible's kind of weird. So that's fine. All's good. And then there's this other girl who's bullying her at school. Now, they see her at a playground in a couple of days, and Esther's like, yo, what if I push this bitch off the tallest slide? So she does, and this girl snaps her leg, gets multiple stitches in said leg, and is just freaking out on the floor. Because she just broke her leg getting pushed off of a giant slide. And Max sees it and is like, yo, that's my sister. I ain't telling nobody shit.
Yeah, that's how we ride together.
That's right. Ride together, die together, even if it's in Estonia, because I can't talk. So that, is troubling. But Max is covering for her sister. And Estonia girl, Esther, isn't actually she's like, she fell. We were just playing. That's not my fault. I didn't push her. And Max is like, she slipped? I don't know. I saw it happen. She slipped. So far Esther's in the clear, right? There's a few little details here and there that hey, maybe Esther's kind of evil. And the mom's picking up on it, but the dad's not. Later on, the diocese that they adopted her from calls up and is like, hey, how's Esther doing?
Pounder.
Yeah, Pounda calls up, who's the head nun at whatever orphanage they were at. And she's like, hey, how's Esther doing? And they're like, she may have broken somebody's leg. Otherwise fine. And she's like, oh, that's weird. I'm gonna come over. So she comes over and she's like, hey, there's been some weird stuff in Esther's history where bad crap happens and Esther just happens to be there every time. The house lights on fire and everybody dies but Esther. This kid was running with scissors once and fell and stabbed himself. And the only person who was near him was Esther. Just every bad thing that you think could happen happens around Esther. So they're we can't prove that any of this crap happened, right, in her past life, and she did it, but it all definitely occurred around her. And the mom's like, huh, that's a bad sign, and the dad's like, well, she definitely didn't do any of that. Patterns don't mean anything.
Patterns don't mean anything. I'm an idiot.
Yeah. And as you go on, Esther does more and more stuff to piss off the mother, right? She destroys this garden that was made in memorial to the child who they miscarried, who's that baby's ashes is spread in this garden, and Esther destroys it, and she gives flowers to the mother from said garden, but she murdered all the flowers. I also forgot to mention, I don't know how I skipped over this, that nun dies, immediately, because Esther cold cocks her with a hammer. Because Esther overhears is yo, they're going to try to take me away, Max. So first her plan is, while the car's driving by, right, on this secluded road leaving the house, I'm gonna push Max into the road so that Esther either A, kills Max and gets in trouble for murdering a child, or B, swerves out of the way, and then I can cold cock her with a hammer.
Either way, she's getting cold cocked with a hammer.
Yeah. The second option happens, cold cocks her with a hammer, forces the 5-year-old girl to help her hide the body, and then she hides the instruments of murder inside of a treehouse, and then also threatens to murder the little kid if she were to tell anybody. Or actually murder her family if she were to tell anybody. So the little girl doesn't tell nobody. Moving on, Esther does some sketchy stuff to like intentionally piss off the mother. At one point she breaks her own arm and pins it on the mother. So she's just doing like thing after thing after thing to try to like set up the mom to get her out of the picture. And again, the only person who actually pays attention and notices this is the mother. And everybody's like, you're an alcoholic.
You're an alcoholic.
You're crazy. She's like, I haven't drank in a year. And they're like, you're an alcoholic. So it's not going well for mom. Later on, the older brother starts to like catch wind, right? Because also she threatens to kill him. And he's like, yo, I gotta get some dirt on this guy, on this lady. So he finds out about the evidence inside of the treehouse. But Esther sees this coming, right? She reads that plan. So she goes into the treehouse before him, pins him in the treehouse, lights that shit on fire with him in it. And then when he escapes the treehouse, right, he like falls out the top of it because there's a window. And he climbs out that window and onto a tree. And then he falls out of that tree onto his back. And he's like laid out, but he's still alive. And then Esther's like, I'm just going to bash his face in with a brick. But Max saves him, so all good. And then they're in the hospital, and Esther again is like, I'm just going to murder him here. So she tries to smother him, and then... Okay, so she successfully smothers him, but they're in a hospital, and the hospital saves him. But the mother, like, bitch slaps Esther. Because she's like, yo, I'm onto you. Like, why are you trying to murder my kid? And then she bitch slaps him. I mean, that doesn't go over well with the father. The father's like, hey, get the hell out of here. Like, you're not sleeping at home tonight. So Esther's like, what if I seduce my dad? What if that? And he's like, no, you're 9 years old. But then we find out she's actually 33. And she's a crazy person from Estonia.
And like is a repeat offender of this.
Yeah, like that family that mysteriously died in a fire, that didn't happen. She tries to seduce people's fathers, and when that fails, she murders the family. And that's like rinse repeat what she does to get to America.
It sounds like she has an unfulfilled Oedipus complex, but for dads.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Freud.
Freud.
Boom, Freud. Get Freuded.
I like that. That's how she
get Freuded.
Her way to America.
Yeah, I just like the Freuded name. I'm gonna use that from now on. Get Freuded. So, yeah, she escaped a psych ward. She has a hormone disorder that makes her like child size forever.
Yeah, like dwarfism.
Kind of, except she's proportional, right? She's
got a pretty big head.
Well, all of her body parts match her height, right? She's not just like... She doesn't have dwarfism. I'm not going to say anything else because the rest of the movie's for you to see. And there's only like 12 minutes that I didn't talk about. But to get the full Estonian Lizzie Borden, you kind of need to know a lot.
This movie, when it came out, I wholeheartedly wonder if it like messed up adoption rates. You know what I mean? Like when people watching this are just like, yo, I know we just like adopted Bob and Sally, but like, are they 30-year-olds?
Are they 30-year-old murderers from Estonia? I don't know. Can I prove that they aren't? I really can't. Yeah, I think like it's like the Jaws effect, right? Like when Jaws came out, people are just like, "Is that a shark? Fucking kill it!"
They don't trust orphans. That's what.
Yeah, like, is that a child without?
Oh God.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that there's a decent chance that like the adoption rates went down for at least a year.
What I do know is like orphanages and like adoptive parents complained about this movie.
Yeah, with good reason.
It's like, yeah. I mean, they still made it. They didn't. They might have tweaked things here or there. How do you say this? Vera Farmiga, I think, did a great job.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I like her a lot. It's definitely a very interesting twist, right? Like, it's like sleepaway camp. It's something you can, like, watch once and you're super shocked. And then, like, you know, you can watch it again, but, like, the twist is kind of wild. And you're like, okay, you got away with it and you earned it. But, like, whoa.
Yeah, yeah. She has, like... Never mind. She has like fake teeth and everything.
No, she does, dude.
And it's gross.
Like, she doesn't want to go to the dentist. However, the dad of this movie is a total idiot.
Yeah. So, with the characters in this film, it's a movie that I like, kind of. But most of the cast I kind of hate. Right? Like, the brother, the dad, I hate both of them. Obviously, creepy Estonian kid, like, she does her part well. Would not want to be in the same room with that person ever.
No.
No, that's a bad time. So the movie, even though, like, I don't like the characters for the most part, is still good. Because I think that all of the characters that I don't like do their job well, and that's why I don't like them.
Right, yeah, no, they play it so good, like, you know you're not supposed... Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Except for the dad. He's just... Well, the dad and the brother. I just legitimately hate both of them.
Yeah, I mean, how do you say this? I don't think, like you said, they're convincing in what they're supposed to be doing, but when a movie comes on and I see Peter Skarsgård, that's his name? I wrote it down. Yeah, I'm not, like, thrilled to see, like,
Peter
Skarsgård, however you say that. It's like, he's not an actor I look forward to seeing on screen. He's not someone I expect, like,
big
things out of, right? Like I said, I liked him in Green Lantern. I think that's, like...
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that says enough. Where it's like, oh, hey, that's good.
Look at him, he's doing things.
But, like, yeah... They play their roles. They play their roles well. I like that this movie even has, like, you know how, like, in Jaws they have, like, smile, you son of a bitch. Like, they have, like, the one, get your damn dirty paws off me. Get your paws off me, you damn dirty ape. Or, like, they have that one-liners. I'm not your... you know. Like,
right in the kisser.
Like, they even have a one-liner. Like, that's good.
Yeah.
You know, it's all like, I feel like if this movie came out in the 80s, it would have been like a cherished cult classic.
Yeah. I do think that this movie did, like, fine for itself. But, yeah, I could totally see that. If this was out in the 80s, people would be like, whoa, this is the craziest horror movie ever made.
Yeah.
You know? Well, because if you look at, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to insult any classics, but if you, like, rewatch a lot of, like, Friday the 13th, you're like, oh, no, a guy with a machete. It's like, oh, it's a guy with a machete. Oh, wait, it's not a guy, it's his mom. I just ruined that movie for you. Anyways, yeah, so Orphan, not a bad film. I liked it. Is it uncomfortable in its subject matter? Yes.
Yes, Freuded.
What else?
Trademark that.
Freuded. Boom, pow.
It's good enough that it got a prequel, or maybe it's just like, they're like, you know what, we ran out of ideas, let's bring that thing back.
Yeah. So yeah, a little uncomfortable. Definitely not what you want if you adopt a child. Yeah.
Definitely gives that whole idea a bad rep.
Yeah.
You know, but not everyone's Estonian Lizzie Borden.
No, basically nobody. Yeah. Really, yeah.
So, like, you're good. You're safe.
You're probably fine.
You know, but thank you, Isabella Furman, for making me question, you know, adoption.
But
making that scary.
Yeah. In the meantime, check it out.
Prepare yourself for the prequel.
prepare yourself for the prequel.
And we'll see you next time.
The Welch Review.